Welcome to another interview with an energy expert, and today we've got something a little bit different. I'm going to be talking to Rajko Pavic of Go Electric in Calgary, and they sell used electric cars, electric vehicles that are imported from the US. So welcome to the interview.
Thanks
Now,
for having me.
give me a little bit of background on what kind of vehicles you import and where you get them from, and maybe the prices that you sell them for, Calgary.
So we basically look at the broad market of electric vehicles here and in the US, and we try to make sure that we kind of cover and import all the cars that are the best for us here, for our climate, for our roads and everything else. There are certain cars that do better than the others, and there are certain cars that are obviously more expensive than the others. So we look at the kind of holistic picture and try and bring all of the ones that we think folks in Alberta are interested in. So right now we kind of settled on a lineup of the cars that include, of course, Nissan Leaf, the most popular car in the world, electric, at least so far. The Kia Soul EV as a really good alternative for like a bigger car. But also some of the smaller cars that are really good for commuting, like a Fiat 500e or the Spark EV, that were actually never sold in Canada originally, right? So those are imported from the US. The rest of the cars, we basically try to find anywhere in Canada or in the US, kind of the best specimens with the best battery and everything else. We do all the pre-screening and provide all the info to people shopping for those cars, and that includes a lot of actually education about how electric vehicles work, what the batteries are, how battery degradation works, where is particular car on that degradation curve, etc., etc. So it's a very interesting process, but it's also very rewarding.
Now, I had a friend in Vancouver who bought a Nissan Leaf, and it was a year old. It came off a lease in the US, and so he brought it up to Canada. I think it cost him about $18,000, if my memory serves. So is that kind of what we're talking about here, and is that the price range more or less that we're, a potential buyer in Calgary is looking at?
It depends on the market. Unfortunately, Calgary market is in its infancy in terms of electric cars. So mostly electric cars in Calgary are more expensive than in BC and some of the other jurisdictions, because there is no native market. In BC, there was, and in US as well as Montreal and some of the other places, there was a native market, good native market for electric cars because incentives. So that kind of reduced the price. So we have to basically piggyback off those markets, which means bringing cars in. We can't buy locally and just have local stock. So we have to bring those cars in, which means a little more shipping. But in general, prices are between, for plug-in hybrids. We only sell either pure electric cars or plug-in hybrids. We don't deal with hybrids. I'm sure there are plenty of folks around a regular dealership, used car lots, etc., that have hybrids. We specialize in plug-in vehicles. So for those ones, we have vehicles anywhere from $13,000 to usually around $25,000. That's kind of the price range.
So what kind of response are you getting from Calgary consumers? Is there a lot of interest in EVs?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of interest in EVs here, and we constantly get a response that there isn't any availability. And for us, that has been a bit of an issue as well. Even though we know there's quite a demand, we actually had quite a lot of problems importing cars, and we're still kind of working on making sure that channel is smooth as it needs to be and increasing the number of cars that we have available. But we have kind of struggled even with our supply, and that seems to be the problem. If you do a quick search in Alberta on electric cars, there aren't a lot available, and that seems to be the main problem.
Do you expect that over the next couple of years, as the big automakers start to roll out their full models of electric vehicles, that the used market in Canada, and in particular Calgary, is going to be more robust, that it'll grow along with that new sale market?
Yeah, definitely. We'll see a huge increase, obviously, in new car sales, new electric car sales, which we're seeing already, but also in used car sales a lot. So yeah, we're definitely in for a lot of the growth. The only, well, it's not a problem, it's a good thing, but it is kind of problematic, is that the demand keeps outstripping the supply. So even as we grow availability, our demand is also growing. So we're constantly trying to catch up. And this is not just in the used market, this is the same for the new cars. For the amount of people, that's why we're seeing those huge reservation numbers, both for Tesla vehicles, but also for something like a Volkswagen ID3 in Europe. And basically every car that is launched has a huge line of people waiting for it, because there is a demand for electric cars, and there is demand for electric cars all over the world. And that includes Alberta. There's a lot of people here who are very well aware of what electric cars are and how good they can be, not just for the environment, but for themselves as well. So yeah,
Sure.
we're expecting that only to grow.
Uh, this will be the final question, Rajko. Who would be a typical customer of yours?
Um, if you would believe, there's a wide range of people. Mostly, we've seen a lot of teachers. We've seen a lot of a lot of people who work in IT. We've seen a lot of people who are, I guess, progressive crowd is one way of putting that, right? They're all aware of the environment issues, but also some of the other things electric cars are well known for, like the ease of use and no maintenance, etc. So yeah, like it's progressive crowd that is pushing the envelope on electric cars.
Well, you know what? That jives with a couple of studies that I've interviewed the authors, and they have done surveys on who's buying electric cars in the U.S. And I think that pretty much lines up with what you're seeing in Calgary. So, well, thank you very much for this, and good luck on your business. And whereabouts are you located?
Thanks. We are located just off Crowchild Trail and 17th Avenue in 2605 17th Avenue Southwest, one of the older Killarney neighborhoods.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you again.
Sounds good. Thank you, Markham.